welcome to our webinar, SCRS Global Impact Partner Update. Please take a moment to look at the chat area in the lower right corner of your screen. You will see a drop-down menu with options next to the word Send To. If you have any technical problems today, send a chat message to host. If you have any questions for the presenters, chat to all presenters. And if you have any questions or comments to share with the entire audience, send a chat to all participants. A recording of this webcast will be available later today, and we will send all registrants an email tomorrow with this link. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to today's presenters. Sean Soth is the Vice President of Global Business Partnerships for the Society for Clinical Research Sites. With more than 15 years' experience in clinical business development and a background in association management, Sean works to connect sponsors, CROs, and solution providers with the SCRS community. Casey Orvin is the president of SCRS. With nearly 20 years of experience working within the site community, Casey previously served as Executive Vice President of Business Development for Synexus and Vice President of Marketing and Sponsor Recruitment for Clinical Research Advantage. Jimmy Bechtel is the Senior Project Manager for SCRS and works with ongoing SCRS initiatives centered around GIP strategy and engagement. And Dan Milam is the Vice President of Global Engagement for SCRS. Dan manages program elements for the European, Asian Pacific, Oncology, and Global Site Solution Summits, and is a regular speaker at industry meetings and SCRS symposiums across the globe. With that, I would like to pass the presentation over to Sean Soth to get started. Sean.
Thanks so much, Carolyn. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. We have a busy schedule, my colleagues and I, today, and we want to be mindful of your time. So these are just a few of the points that we're going to be talking about as we prepare for today's call, leading us up to this year's Global Site Solutions Summit. As always, for those of you who are new to our Global Impact Partner Program, our GIP community is one that helps SCRS inform strategy that we take out to market, whether that's our member market or any of our constituencies. Many folks don't know, but SCRS has a variety of members, and you as GIPs are all members of SCRS. We reach sponsors, CROs, and of course sites at the academic setting, private setting, and network setting. But across the board, we are looking to help everyone understand what site success impacts everyone in research. This year, we have a number of new solution providers joining the program, each bringing some wonderful opportunities and ideas and innovations into the marketplace. And today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some of our new GIPs. Starting with CliniThink. CliniThink's platform delivers the deep, fast, and accurate analysis of unstructured data across patient populations. This analysis provides medical professionals with the knowledge they need to quickly and accurately diagnose conditions and plan the most effective treatments. I understand that the CliniThink team will be presenting this year at the Site Solutions Summit, and we look forward to meeting them there this year in Hollywood. Complion. If you've been to a Site Solutions Summit over the last maybe 5-6 years, you've met Rick Arlo and his team from Complion. They've always been a great supporter of SCRS, and we're thrilled to have them as GIPs. Complion's industry-leading e-regulatory document and workflow management platform improves efficiency, compliance, and transparency for research sites and sponsors. The sponsor-approved turnkey platform stores, organizes, and routes all of the regulatory documentation involved in a clinical trial, saving Complion's customers an average of $6,000 per trial. Total Clinical Trial Management, or TCTM, also a longtime supporter since their inception of SCRS and a longtime presenter and participant at a number of our summits. Melinda and her team will also be in Hollywood, Florida this year. If you aren't familiar with TCTM, they're a contract research organization based in Dallas. They have a unique perspective on emphasizing the relationship with the clinical research site as a primary driver for successful clinical trial completion. TCTM is a wide range of therapeutic expertise with recent areas of focus including pain, orthopedic injury, GI, derm, cosmetics, and over-the-counter generic studies. Thanks so much. We look forward to including Melinda and her team this year at the summit. And PSI CRO is our latest GIP. PSI is a privately owned, full-service CRO operating globally. Their global reach supports clinical trials across multiple countries and continents and is known to be highly selective about their work that they pursue. With an exceptionally high repeat and referral business rate combined with minimal staff turnover, PSI is committed to being the best CRO in the world as measured by its customers and its employees. So everyone, thank you, and welcome Clinithink, Complion, Total, and PSI to the GIP program. And everyone, each call we kind of review some of the new GIPs, and of course we have a press release for the GIPs that join the program. One of the things we want to talk to you about this year at the GIP meeting at the summit is how do we help increase the voice of all of our GIP members so that you all can work collectively throughout the year, not just with SCRS, but maybe with each other. So in coming months, we'll be working through a program that helps introduce our GIPs to one another, not just in person, but throughout the year as well. More to come on that. And now I'd like to turn over our call today for our industry updates to my colleague, the president of SCRS, Mr. Casey Orvin. Casey?
All right, thanks, Sean. And again, a very special welcome to those 4 GIPs who are now part of the SCRS family here. So wanted just to take a moment or two to discuss some of the industry updates, as Sean mentioned. And starting off with our Leadership Council. We have a very active Leadership Council, and we held a meeting. We held 2 meetings, face-to-face meetings a year, and one was held just in late June in Annapolis. And we've added a few people to that Leadership Council because we feel it's very important to have a wide range of people on the council, both especially from sites, and then also from sponsors and CROs. So this year we brought on Chris Hoyle with Elite, who several of you know, and these 4 names will be very familiar to a lot of those on the call. Hans Christian with Trial Care Research. Again, it's important that we really understand the industry not only in the U.S. but worldwide. We're a worldwide organization. Of course, more of our members are outside the U.S. than inside. So having Hans, who's based in Switzerland, was definitely a plus on our Leadership Council. Jennifer Burgess with Transcelerate has joined the council, as well as Roger Smith with AES, which is the Accurian Synexus combined new company with Accelerated Enrollment Solutions. So a special welcome to those 4 individuals. And in June, we spent a whole day together really discussing the program updates, enhancing those programs that are already in place, and really looking and saying what, in addition to some of the things that we'll be talking about on this call, including decentralized studies and kind of that virtual aspect that we've taken a stance on, what else do we need to focus on? We talked a lot about the summit and how we can improve that experience for the sites, whether it be different breakout sessions, really focusing back on the core foundation of SCRS, which is the 4 pillars: the advocate, educate, mentor, and connect. And we as a council were able to really group off into different teams and really talk about how we as a company, as the voice and the community of the industry, how we can be more successful in those 4 pillars. So we'll be seeing the fruits of that labor, that meeting, in the upcoming weeks and months and ahead. So I also wanted just to mention with ACRP, we continue to look at ways that we can work with strong players in the industry, and you've got 2 of them right here with ACRP and DIA. So we sat down with ACRP in June to discuss training. And of course, several of you may have seen that we switched our training that we're offering our sites as members of SCRS. And we strongly feel that the better sites are trained, the better the sites are going to be at successfully recruiting patients, at successfully retaining those patients. So about a month ago, back on July 23rd, we announced that we would be offering the ACRP training, both GCP and ethics training, to SCRS members as part of their membership. So that was very well received among our members, and we continue to look at ways that we can work together with ACRP, as well as DIA. That's another strong and important industry partner. We're looking at ways we can partner outside the U.S. for DIA for their conferences that they put on throughout the world. And we've been approached and accepted the invitation to be on the program committee for an upcoming meeting that they're going to be having in spring called the Digital Technologies and Clinical Trials. So it's important that we, and we're being contacted by several different organizations. Several of you on the phone, your companies have contacted us really wanting to know the site voice and how the sites are feeling about some of the changes that are coming up, both on the tech side, but then on the relationship side too. We put this mobile at DFARM just because they also realize the importance of the site voice, and we will be on a panel at their upcoming conference in Boston in just a few weeks. So just wanted to highlight a couple of those industry updates there. When you look at the, and we mentioned it on our last call, and when you look at the industry and the discussions that are going on, decentralized trials and virtual trials is a very hot topic right now. And we have been, ever since we put out that announcement, which we'll talk about in just a moment about our program that we have, our initiative that we are having that Jimmy will touch on, we wanted to see what can we do as an organization to help sites. Our motto, and we've always been about site sustainability. Our focus is and always will be site sustainability. So we feel it's, as a representative of the site voice, that this area is very important to the society. When we have organizations that may be looking at different ways in which they do research that would have the normal sites kind of take a back seat, we want to take a stand to that. So Jimmy will be talking a little bit about the Digital Innovation Initiative here, but I wanted to take a moment to discuss a new program that we're calling the Member Affinity Program, and it's MAP for short. And what these are, this is basically services from our GIP, from partners, all of you on the phone, that help the sustainability of sites. So again, site sustainability is where it's at. So we'll be in discussion with GIPs who have a service or a product that will be offered to the sites at absolutely zero cost. So this is something that sites will benefit from, that it will help them be sustainable in the future. So we announced the first member benefit with VirTrial. And for those of you who don't know, VirTrial is a virtual care platform. It's a patient management program that combines video and text and email for sites and really trains them on becoming certified and ready for decentralized trials. So it's a member benefit that's available to all SCRS sites as a free member benefit, and we'll be talking in the upcoming weeks and months about the Affinity program and adding other benefits that, again, at the end of the day, we want to be able that we are ensuring our sites, members of SCRS, have the resources they need to thrive and to be the best sites in the industry. So that's something that we feel strongly about there.
And Casey, I was just going to add, this is Sean. For those of you who are on the call and are like, hey, I have an interest in that, we are working towards allowing any GIP who wants to participate in that MAP program, the Affinity program, by the Site Solutions Summit, so that if there was a program that you'd like to share with SCRS members, we now have a vehicle to do that. Many of you have asked over the years, hey, I'd like to provide a resource to SCRS members, and we just need a little time to kind of iron that out and make sure that we're helping members be informed of those benefits. In this case, VirTrial has been a great partner to help us inform on the topic of decentralization. There's a lot of questions. If any of you have been to a summit this year, it has been a topic of conversation at every single meeting, and there's some confused sites out there that need help in understanding what does this new digital technology mean for my business and my patients. So we're real excited to have VirTrial be on board with us here, and want to thank their team for helping us pilot the first Affinity program of the year and really ever for SCRS. We're working next to be able to streamline those types of offering for anyone else that may have an idea or an interest in working with us, and we'll be getting out guidelines and a number of different tools to help folks understand if they'd like to participate in the program. It will only be available to GIPs. I want to share that. That is important.
Yeah.
One of the things that we'll talk about as we approach the Site Solutions Summit are some of these topics and how we can help increase the GIP's share of voice. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But for those of you on the line, one thing to make sure you're aware is that every GIP, whether you're a sponsor, a CRO, or a solution provider, can attend the Site Solutions Summit at no cost. The registration for any of the Site Solutions Summits is included in your program. And this year as a board member. So if you're on the phone call today and you're representing someone else on your team perhaps that sits on the GIP board and regularly represents your organization with SCRS's GIP program, please know that that individual should register, and they should register today using the GIP code listed here. We've been sharing it quite a bit, but in case you haven't seen it, it's just once you get started on the registration program, you just type in GIP Comp 2019, and it'll do the rest. One new change in that registration process that we've been getting a lot of feedback on in a positive way is that you enter the code first versus filling everything out and then watching in horror as you may be thinking you're being charged. But no, this is an improvement to our registration process, and we're real excited to have some new advances in that registration environment leading up to the summit for attendees. You guys will notice some changes on site just to make the experience even that much better. And with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Dan Milam. I think everyone knows Dan from any of our Site Solutions Summits, but in case this is a call that you're just joining us on for the first time, Dan manages the programming at all of our Site Solutions Summits as well as our ambassador programs abroad for our symposiums. And Dan's going to share a little bit today about some of the exciting things we got planned for this year's summit.
Thank you, Sean. Good afternoon, everyone. And as Sean said, you will see a number of changes to this year's summit to make it even better than what has been in the past. And one of those changes that you'll see is the addition of a keynote speaker to open the summit on Friday afternoon. And this year we have invited to launch our first keynote speaker, an incredibly dynamic speaker who will give us a great kickoff to the summit, Dr. Frida Lewis Hall, Chief Patient Officer from Pfizer. So we're extremely excited that she has agreed to join us for the summit and look forward to hearing from her. In addition, we have 15 workshops planned for this year. Many of you are involved in those workshops, 9 plenary sessions, of which those include also our site tank competition of where sites get to share their innovative ideas that they have come up with over the past couple years, as well as our SPRIA Awards focusing on recruitment innovation that the sites have completed a successful innovative process to enroll, recruit, and retain patients into a study, and gives them the opportunity to talk about the great successes that they've had. So we look forward to both of those awards that we'll be hearing about at the summit, as well as 42 breakout sessions, which are 3 more than last year. As our attendance grows, we want to offer more opportunities for the sites to hear about various topics and from various speakers. And also, as all of you know, the EAGLE Awards will be announced on Saturday night at our gala. Also, our site partnership symposiums. Thank you to Janssen, Lilly, IQVIA, and Parexel for partnering with us for these symposiums. These symposiums are extremely popular sessions that sell out each year. They're sessions that are only limited to sites, and it's where these organizations have exclusive audience with the sites to discuss initiatives, study pipelines, and to hold focus groups so these organizations can hear directly back from the sites and have a dialogue. And these these sessions, as I said, sell out each year with the sites wanting to attend and to have that that interaction with the sponsors and CROs who give these. So again, those will be a popular addition to this year. And also, again, this year, our site landscape presentation will take place Saturday morning, and this will present the data that we've collected from our site landscape survey. And again, this year, we will conduct this in a way to present the data and then also hold some panel discussions with pharma and CRO representatives to get some firsthand or first glance responses to this data and to begin the discussion and to really kick off the discussion for our summit. So with that, Sean, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing everyone at the summit this year.
Thanks, Dan. Everyone, if you haven't been to a Site Solutions Summit, and I think most of you have, I can see by the list of attendees today, please know that when you register at a Site Solutions Summit, we all go to a ton of meetings in life science and outside of life science. One very unique thing is that at the Site Solutions Summit, your registration as a GIP or anyone's registration, as long as it's a full reg, will allow them to go into any part of the conference, starting on the Friday kickoff. So one thing we didn't touch on too much here, but the workshops, those are paid workshops for the attendees. We do have some folks that would like to participate in them. You can. There is a small fee for those, but everything from the start of the kickoff of the Site Solutions Summit to the end on Sunday is included. That's the meals, that's the breakfasts, those are the networking, even the drinks at the receptions. All these things are included. You have full access to any of the sessions that you'd like to participate in. Dan had mentioned a sellout for the Site Partnership Symposiums. These are free to the site registrants. They can attend any of these partnership symposiums with any of these organizations that they'd like, but he's right. They typically fill up completely each year, and we expect the same this year. For those of you who are interested, we are tracking at slightly ahead of where we were a year ago. Last year, we just about hit 1,000 total attendees. So that's what we're hoping for, is just over 1,000 total attendees this year, for those of you who are interested. And again, one of the values of the GIP program that's a little bit intangible, but I'll share it here quickly. When the program committee goes through and selects people to speak at conferences, each conference, we look for folks that we know in the industry and our SCRS supporters. We then go to our premier sponsors who have been helpful in funding and investing in the Site Solutions Summit, and then we go to our GIPs. And most of the time, you'll receive a notice from Dan asking for, hey, would you have an interest in any of these panel discussions? The summit doesn't accept abstracts. We're a little different that way. All of our content comes from our content committee for each of the programs that we have. And this year, in specifics, for us as GIPs and a GIP community, we will have our in-person board meeting following the summit this year. Sorry, everyone, those of you who voted to have it earlier, like me, we couldn't fit it in this year. We still had an overwhelming amount of folks that actually opted to for the afternoon of Sunday for the GIP board meeting. But just a heads up, this year the meeting theme will be building the GIP voice. And that's understanding where to take some of the topics that we've talked about over the last year and equipping our GIPs with the tools they need to thrive within the site community as well as the industry abroad. Just how are we sharing the SCRS message and what do our GIPs need to help us do that? We want to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll end a little bit on the 2020 snapshot and what to expect moving into next year. As GIPs, we have begun a number of initiatives over the years. The two most recent initiatives to gain or have groundswell would be our diversity and our oncology initiative. Oncology actually having its own conference and program completely on its own. And then our diversity, which the team and committee from the Diversity Initiative has been speaking really all over the world at this point, and will do so again in Hollywood, Florida this October. The initiatives are typically areas of need that either our members or the industry at large has brought to our attention. This year, as Casey had mentioned, we will begin work on the SCRS Digital Innovation Initiative. And I invited Jimmy and Casey to just sort of share a little bit about two of these initiatives in particular, in diversity and the digital innovation. And with that, I was wondering, Casey, could you let us know everything that's happening with our diversity group?
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to. Yeah, this is a very active group within SCRS, is the diversity, and we have Diane Foster is managing this part of the business. But we had a very good working group meeting in Maryland a few weeks ago, back in the end of July, and with this group there was the five mentioned below: GSK, Janssen, Medidata, Merck, and Roche. Roche is the newest member to join and give support behind the diversity program. But we really have strong supporters from these five, and then a lot of interest from other industry players that realize that diversity is an important part. The FDA, I was thinking back, I think it was right before our last GIP call that the FDA issued a new guideline that included diversity and stressed that this is an important part and remains an important part within the industry, is making sure that we are recruiting those diverse populations both in all different areas. So the global interest is exploding. In Australia, we typically put on a day-and-a-half conference in Australia. And this year, because there was a interest in diversity, we actually held a subgroup. Really a focus group that we didn't know how well it would be attended, but at least wanted to have that opportunity for those attendees to take part in that focus group. And we ended up having 80 people in attendance, which was quite large. So we decided to create a subgroup specific to Asia Pac. There's different needs and a different climate over in that area, and a different need for diversity. So we'll continue to discuss diversity, that working group. That we'll have webinar series. There was one this week. There'll be another one in October, and then December, actually, FDA will be helping with that. We've added a couple members onto the team to that working group, two regulatory authorities, one from the FDA and one from a representative from NHR. So it's important to us. There'll be 2 new articles that are being written for our newsletters. The site assessment tool is out to the sites right now. That's been a long time in the making, and that is actually being implemented to sites, and we're getting feedback from that. We picked I believe it was 12 or 15 sites that we were going to and having that site assessment tool. So there'll be one of the plenaries at Global will be involved in the diversity arena, and so we'll be hearing from several of the members that are on that working group. But really appreciate, when I looked at the attendees of this call right now, there are several that are on this call right now that are part of that group, so thank you for the work that you've done, and there's some more exciting things that are coming up within that program. But you'll be hearing a lot more. A couple of the the different sessions at Global will be focused on diversity. So to discuss the other initiatives, and the one that we're really excited and have received a tremendous amount of interest on is the Digital Innovation Initiative. I always kind of get tongue-tied when I say that fast, but the Digital Innovation Initiative. So let me turn the time over to Jimmy to really talk about that in more detail.
Great, thanks, Casey. As Casey and Sean have both mentioned, it's a very exciting initiative that we have coming up here, getting on the front end of digital innovation. This specific initiative is focused initially here on virtual or decentralized trials, while potentially expanding to other projects under the digital innovation umbrella, because we know and understand that technology doesn't end with virtual or decentralized trials. So we're currently finalizing the charter for this initiative, and soon you all will receive a formal invitation to be part of this program or this initiative. The first step here will be to reply with who from your organization would best be suited to participate in this program and sit on this initiative, and then for that individual and yourselves as interested to attend our initial discovery and shareholder meeting. We really feel this is going to benefit both sites and you all by enabling everyone to best be prepared for this upcoming change. So we're looking forward to this and its outcomes and action items that come from it. So thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. Dan, we sent Dan on a world tour this summer, and one of those stops happened to be Taipei, and I asked him to share a little bit about the ambassador program and his work overseas. Dan?
Great, thanks, Sean. Yeah, the SCRS Ambassador Program has seen a lot of growth and a lot of work gone into it over the last few years, and we see a lot of membership growth in all areas of focus under this program. And focusing on the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Korea, Poland, and then also expanding into other countries within the Central Europe region as well. As Sean said, that as you see here in the picture, this is from our July 21st Ambassador Symposium in Taiwan, where we hosted over 130 in attendance at this venue, and actually it was filled to capacity to where we actually sold out of space, or filled up the space 3 weeks prior to the symposium and had to turn many away. So thanks to our SCRS ambassador, Dr. Cheng Xu, China Medical University from Taichung, Taiwan, for being a part of this, and his team. The community in Taiwan is super excited about our partnership and being able to take advantage of the SCRS benefits there. And we are already in process of planning a 2020 symposium in the region and looking for a space to host up to 150 or so attendees. So many of you have helped us identify speakers for the various sessions that we hold for this one-day symposium. So thank you very much. Many of your regional associates have been a part of this. And I think this last year we had about 10 or 12 sponsors, CROs, and solution providers who participated on the various panels. Other areas that we're excited to announce is most recently we partnered with Greenfire to host a Poland and Central Europe Ambassador Symposium, and that will be scheduled for November 18th, so here in a couple months. And I will be contacting many of our GI partners again to help us partner to find sites, speakers in the region to help fill our various sessions for that as well. So please keep a lookout for my emails to each of you on this as well. And then also we've seen a lot of growth in the UK and Korea with a lot of excitement in both those areas to connect with the site. So again, thank you for everyone's help to help support this program by reaching out to your colleagues in those regions. They've been a big part and have really helped us to connect with the sites and bring some great subject matter to those sites.
Thank you, Dan. Dan's done a great job working with a number of partners to grow our ambassador program, and it was one program that we wanted to begin to make some adjustments to. As you can imagine, for a young organization like SCRS, going global, hosting summits in different hemispheres, and also hosting symposiums in specific regions can be a challenge, and we're thankful to have partnerships to help us get there. We're continuing to look at ways to adapt the ambassador program, hopeful for more GIP support and interest in 2020. as we revamp that. So that's one of the topics we'll talk a little bit more about in our meeting this October. This slide just simply to keep everyone updated on some of the site advocacy groups and research programs currently in the works. I just noticed that a to be announced IQVIA and Boehringer Ingelheim survey that is approaching, and you'll be seeing some of these surveys come to life here in the next really few months. Surveys and site advocacy groups are only available to our GIP communities members, and often focus on something that the host organization is looking to research. If you have more questions on these, feel free to reach out to Marcus or myself following today's call. The team had a wonderful trip to Melbourne just last month. And Dan, once again, I wanted to ask you if you could update us on what you experienced in Melbourne.
Absolutely. And yeah, as Sean had mentioned, we had an incredible experience at our summit this year in Melbourne. And again, I can't thank everyone here on the call enough for helping us to find speakers within your company or you yourself attending and being a part of our speaking faculty. We have received some incredible feedback from the summit, and the community in Australia is so excited. Next year already, we've got a lot of buzz already for next year's summit. This year we had over 250 attendees.
Hey Dan, you're coming out real broken, man. So I'm going to take it from you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Sorry, just coming over real scattered on the audio. So everyone, as Dan had mentioned, we had a sold-out expo. We had more than 250 attendees. This is our largest Asia Pac meeting ever. We have a wonderful relationship with the sites and committee, as well as some of the committee chairs in the region, and we're thankful to have their support as we approach next year. There will be one large change in 2020. This particular meeting will become the Australia-New Zealand Site Solutions Summit, and we will once again be in Melbourne at the cricket ground. So for those of you wondering, well, why the change? Well, with the growth of the symposiums in the Asia region, we've had some requests to grow that program there. And since we've been hosting and have had such a good experience in Melbourne with growth every year, mostly from sites in New Zealand and Australia, we felt that brand change was timely. So that'll be coming to your calendars here in the next couple of weeks. Thank you, Dan and team there. And speaking of which, your GIP benefits will expand next year. We are expanding our current summit and meeting calendar to 5 global meetings for our leadership council, who may be on the phone today. We've invited our leadership council to be on today's GIP call. The leadership council also has a separate meeting in June that is not listed here. This is just for our GIPs to understand this is the upcoming Site Solutions Summit and new SCRS West to be held. We're looking at April. We've got 3 cities we're down to right now to share a date. There's an April date and a June date that we're looking at for a West Coast meeting. This will be a little different than our traditional summits. It'll be focused on innovation, and I think the working title right now is SCRS West, Research on the Edge. So new ideas in technology and approaches mixed with best practices that our summit attendees, particularly our sites, have enjoyed at every summit. We're looking to just switch things up for that West Coast meeting. I've already shared the news about the Australia-New Zealand meeting, and then one thing that we had a long conversation about with that's that our European meeting is moving to Lisbon in Portugal, and we just felt like it was time for a change. We've enjoyed a few years in London. had a great show there this past year, and when we surveyed our participating exhibitors and our solution providers as a whole, we had overwhelming support to switch things up and try out Lisbon. We have a beautiful property there and can't wait to host you there. For those of you who don't know, SCRS does have 5 total meetings, and this upcoming year will mark the second Oncology Site Solutions Summit. We've moved space in the same hotel. We're still in Austin, Texas, but we expect twice as many attendees this year. And we got Europe, Australia, New Zealand, of course, our global meeting once again in Hollywood, and then our to-be-announced SCRS West will round out our schedule. So everyone, as GIPs, what are some of the next steps moving into the upcoming Global Site Solutions Summit? Number 1, please register. Please do not wait to register. It helps everyone to know who's coming and how many folks are coming. I am blown away by how many folks have registered even in the last week. The last couple of years, we even have walk-ups. But for our GIPs, there's no reason. You have the code now, and it just would be helpful for everyone if you would please register today. Mark your calendars for the GIP meeting at the summit. Again, that's going to be Sunday. So for your GIP board representatives, Marcus and I will be sharing some specific meeting prep detail, maybe a little different than what we've ever done before, to get that meeting up and running and really get our sleeves rolled up for a great takeaway meeting for everyone. Again, the theme of this year is building the GIP voice. And I think that we'll have a great meeting. I mean, if you've never been to a summit, it's going to be a blast. We got some new events throughout the weekend, and for this particular meeting, we're really focused on how we can use our GIP community to not only grow SCRS, but help each of our constituents improve their site-focused businesses and practices. So lastly, look out for those pre-meeting materials and requests from myself and from Marcus. If you have any questions about that meeting, don't hesitate to reach out. I did have one question come over, and that was about sponsors and CROs. Okay, so if you didn't know, if you invite or if you have someone that's a sponsor or a CRO that isn't currently working with SCRS, the first attendee from that sponsor or CRO attends the Site Solutions Summit at no fee. It's only one person per organization, and we have a number of new sponsors and CROs that will be attending this year in Florida. I always find that helpful to share in case there's conversations while your teams are out speaking with customers and they're curious about the Site Solutions Summit. That's something that every sponsor and CRO should know. For our sites, please, any opportunity for you to share the Site Solutions Summit with the sites you're working with, we'd welcome it. Of course, the website's sitesolutionsummit.com, and we will be sharing a registration and links all the way leading up to the meeting itself. And last but not least, please look out for some more information on the Digital Innovation Initiative and launch. So many folks have questions about how to be prepared with some of the technology that's coming down the pike, even just how to improve onboarding and the solutions that they're using now. So we're looking forward to including technology as a major theme for our initiative program moving forward, and we will be talking about the initiative program as a whole at this year's GIP meeting. Just some ideas on improving what I might call the publishing opportunities around some of this work. We're doing some great work, and we want to be able to get it out there. Some of you have shared some amazing ideas. I know if Rick from Trifecta or Jennifer from Transcelerate are on the line, just a heads up, they've joined me for a call pretty recently where we just were talking through some of our initiatives and what that blueprint might be able to look like if it were, well, perfect. How can we improve it? and some of that may mean some changes in our website and our delivery. We're open to all those ideas and can't wait to talk about them with each of you this October. Of course, if there's anything that you need between now and then, this is our detail. I've included Marcus, myself, and Jimmy on this slide. However, please reach out to any of us. On anything you might need. For those of you who are asking, I had a couple questions about the West Coast dates here. We're just waiting for the cities to confirm the availability. So no, we do not have an official location and date yet for that West Coast show. I can share that we're kind of locked into a couple different options in April or June, and as soon as we have that, our GIPs will be the first to know. Hopefully, within the next month, we'll have that ironed out for those of you who are asking about that. And excited about the enthusiasm around that new program. We have a lot of folks that ask us about a West Coast Summit, and we felt like this was a good opportunity to reach out to members and other GIP constituents in the region, so and also do it stateside. So looking forward to sharing more details as they come to light. I'm 2 minutes over on our allotted time, everyone, so I want to thank you, as always, for your incredible support of the SCRS and for helping everyone understand the impact that sites have on everybody in research. If there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to reach out. We look forward to seeing as many of you as possible in just a few months, 2 months rather, at the Site Solutions Summit. Thanks, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Casey, Dan, Jimmy, for all of those great updates. This concludes today's webcast. Thank you all for attending. There will be a recording available tomorrow, and we will send all registrants an email tomorrow with that proper link. Please visit our event calendar to sign up for some more future webcasts. Thank you, everyone.